Wednesday, June 28th, 2023, Board of Equalization meeting to order.
Thank you.
First thing is roll call, Mr. Brett Town.
Here.
Miss Eleanor Thompson.
Here.
And I'm Patrick Crawley here. Notice of the meeting was properly posted. First item is discussion and possible action regarding approval of the minutes of May 31st and June 5th. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the minutes of the BOE 5/31/23 meeting and 6/5/23 meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item is properties that we have. Are these all by phone?
These are all gonna be by phone. They'll all be the same person. His name is Frank Slaughter.
Yeah, David Frank Slaughter. I guess he goes by Frank.
Yes.
Good morning, this is Frank.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Slaughter. This is Patrick Crawley, Chairman of the Board of Equalization in Oklahoma County. We have, I believe, 4 properties that you're on with this morning.
Yes, sir, good morning.
Good morning, and are you ready for all these?
I hope I am.
All right, well, the first one on the agenda is our number, BOE number 130, which is account number ending in 8497. It's the property somewhere on Pole Road, I think, 8701 through some other numbers. But it
Yes, sir.
didn't have a real address. Said address unknown, but I think you do know where it is.
Yes, sir, we've got the 8701, the 8707, and 8711. It's just on the assessor's website, it doesn't show an actual address, it just shows Pole Road.
Okay, all right, this property, I believe it said is account number 8497, ending in 8497. The assessor has assessed this property at $33,881,620, and I believe the taxpayer is asking for $23.3 million. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right, tell us what you want us to know about this property.
Well, sir, this is it's a newer property, and the property was built on spec. There's been a few challenges with it in getting it leased up. We did provide an income valuation on the property with some information pertaining to the actual occupancies for the asset. But what I would start with is just the actual, when we look at the achievable market rents, we provided an income valuation and ran a pro forma on the property, but then accounted for some aspects of an actual lease up due to the fact that the property is currently not fully occupied or certainly not at market occupancy yet. And we've taken a fairly substantial deduction for the discount for rent loss on this property, which puts us down in that $23.3 million range. That's probably the most aggressive position, obviously, that we can take on it. We really just wanted to share the actual information. Presently, the property has approximately 260,000 square feet of vacant space, while there's 143,000 square foot of the property that is currently occupied. So, I mean, and that was as of January 1. They do have some leases coming in this year, but generally speaking, on January 1, the property was only 40% occupied, but we're sitting at a fairly healthy valuation. If we take into account the standard market vacancies of around 10%, and we ran through, I think we ended up with total after reserves somewhere around 19% expenses. We did use a base capitalization rate of around 6%. And once we capitalized that and deducted the rent loss or the discount for rent loss, which we came up with that 23.3. If we were to not account for the discount for the rent loss, that put the value closer to $30 million. But we just wanted to share the information with you that we had, and wanted to make sure that, we had a conversation with the board about it.
Okay. Yeah, we showed, or I showed that this was less than 50% occupied. You're telling me now that it's 41% occupied?
That's the information that we had on the rent roll as of January 1. And I did share that on page 7 of the packet that I sent.
Yeah.
And it shows that the Ryder is currently occupying 88,463 square feet at a $7.20 rental rate. And living spaces at 54,762 square feet. So a total of 143,225. The total square foot is 403,000. So it's the actual occupied space is 35.47 as of January 1.
Okay. And this is a distribution warehouse?
It is a distribution, it's a little bit of a flex facility, to be fair. They do have some office space, but the majority of this is going to be considered sort of an industrial flex.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us right now?
No, sir, that's just the information we shared. I plan to keep it pretty simple today.
Well, appreciate that. All right, we'll hear from the assessor.
Hi, this is Jason Hill. Hey, this information you had about occupancies and rent and everything, my data here says that nothing was provided during the hearing. I have a note that just says 2023 hearing denied. Agent Tim Bales wasn't provided anything by his client. Hearing was denied and NOD was emailed to the agent on 4/24/23. So I don't have access to any of this information.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that any information that was not presented at the informal hearing, we don't consider, because this is an appeal. And to appeal, you have to have all the evidence that you're appealing from. And the assessor's telling me that whoever showed up for this property didn't have anything.
Yep, the note just says.
Well, I know that the information was shared with him, so I mean, at this point, my only response is that you should have had access to the information. So, and it sounds like you did not.
Yeah, when was the information that you feel like the assessor had, when was that provided?
No, I'm not trying to imply that the assessor had the information. The information was shared with the consultant that we took over for the Board of Equalization hearings. And I can't confirm that he actually even shared the information based on what you're saying.
Okay, well, that.
I think the question that he was asking you is when did your agent have the information?
Oh, well in advance of the appeal deadline, the regular appeal deadline that the assessor loaded.
Okay, but it was not presented at the informal hearing.
I can't say that it was. I mean, you have the assessor attesting to the fact that it was not, and I'm not in a position where I can be able to dispute that.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about this property?
No, sir. I mean, but to be fair, if you weren't given any information, I'm not sure any of the information I shared should even be considered.
Well, you're right. You hit the nail right on the head there. I won't consider anything that was not presented at the informal hearing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this old marine's pretty quick, so I just want to make sure that I can't deny or confirm whether or not any information was actually shared at the informal. My apologies.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question. On the grantor, what is that? Who is that? I mean, I know Haskell Lemon. That's why I'm asking, because I may have to recuse myself on a vote. But that's not who owns it. This is
Bree C. Commerce owns it, bought it from Haskell Lemon.
okay.
Haskell Lemon built it?
I'm good then.
No, he sold the land.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Sorry.
did? Oh, okay.
I'm good then.
All right, we were just having a question here about who actually purchased the property with C. Haskell in the name, and they apparently just sold the land. All right, anything else that you'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to tell us? Mr.
No, sir.
Slaughter? Okay, I'm gonna close the hearing on BOE 130 and open up the hearing on BOE number 131, which is property at 2021 South Villa Avenue in Oklahoma City. The, shows the owner being US Lumber Group. And the assessor has assessed this property at $3,778,164. And taxpayers asking for $2,750,000. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, tell us what you want us to know about this property.
Well, maybe before I do that, and I mean, maybe I can ask the question whether any of the information was shared informally with the assessor. I might be able to save us just a little bit of time if we can answer that question.
Sure, a letter was provided here. And it looks like this is, they want it's not so much about the market value, but it's about the taxable value. The cap was taken off from a recent sale, and it appears they wanted that back down. But the letter, well, the note from what is stated here, it says the hearing was denied. The letter from a principal with specialty building products was provided by the agent. The letter describes the relationship between Arrowhead RE Properties and US Lumber Group, where the principals of both entities are supposedly the same. The problem is, this is just a letter. Nothing was supplied that actually shows who all the members are of each entity. We asked Janie, head of deeds, and Gretchen, our office lawyer, too. They agreed with this thought. Also, since there was a deed filed with document stamps, that is typical of a sale. And he spoke to Agent Tim Bales over the phone and explained this to him, and he understands our reluctance to accept just a letter.
And the letter only addresses the taxable
The
market
letter,
value?
the letter reads, property located at 2021 South Villa Avenue in Oklahoma City was subject to a non-arm length transaction between related parties on May 26, 2022. The two entities involved in the transaction are Arrowhead RE Properties and US Lumber Group. Arrowhead RE Properties is an entity owned by Nathaniel Potter. Mr. Potter is a board member for Specialty Building Products, the owning entity of US Lumber Group.
That's it?
Yeah, Mr. Potter joined Specialty Building Products prior to the sale of the subject property through the acquisition of his distribution company. So it was just a sale. They're saying it was a non-arm's length between the same group, but we disagree that that was the case.
All right. Did you hear all that, Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir, I did. So, I mean, it sounds to me like I can't submit the actual value information, since the only thing that was provided by Mr. Bales was the letter regarding the actual transaction. Is that correct?
Yes, the letter was the only thing we had provided. No
Yeah.
financials.
And also, I'll let you know, Mr. Slaughter, we don't have jurisdiction over taxable market value. We only consider the fair market value of property.
Understood. All right, well, in that case, I don't have any additional information to present on this project either. And I'm actually a little bit concerned that may be the case on the other two, so this may be a very short hearing session for everyone.
All right. Anything else from the assessor on this? Okay. I'm going to close BOE number 131, open up the hearing on BOE 132, and I guess the first thing we need to establish is what was presented what, if anything, was presented at the informal.
Can you
Tim,
tell me which account number this one is?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's account number 5050, ending in 5050. It's property at 101 East Main Street.
What is it?
Yes, sir. I have it.
Okay?
Oh, okay.
in this one, nothing was, the agent Tim Bales was never supplied any information from the owner.
Okay.
We have, the property was also just purchased and we have the value far below the sale price. I emailed the NOD to the agent on for 25, 23.
You have it low, well, below the,
It was already below
what was
the
it?
sales price. Let's see, it sold, it was part of a big portfolio
Oh.
sale of 3 hotels there right in Bricktown area. And they allocated the
Okay.
$10,333,000 to that program.
When was the sale?
Yeah, it's actually part of a much larger portfolio transaction, not even a transaction, it's a merger between the owner and a large REIT. So, but you're saying that there wasn't any information provided on this project either,
Yes,
sir?
there was not.
All right.
The
So
sa-
then I sadly, I have no other, I can't submit the actual income information. It sounds like I don't have anything to add to the case.
Okay. I mean, nothing from my, Barbara, any questions from the board?
So who attributed 10 million as the portion of the bulk sale? You did, the assessor did?
The assessor, the sales department of the assessor's
Okay.
office allocated that. The allocation on Coastal Island was much higher than what that 10 million was.
Did you hear all that, Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir, I did.
So there was no other assessment except just using the sales price as of 1/4/22.
Could you go back to previous values? And then, so 2023, yeah, the 10, and then go to 2022 TR. Yeah,
What was it?
so it jumped from 7,936,000 in 2022, and then the sale happened there in beginning 2022, and it jumped up to that allocation with the sales department.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you hear all that, Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, you want to add anything?
I don't think I have anything else I can add.
Okay. All right, well, we'll
I
close.
find myself in an unusual position, to be fair.
Well, yeah, and I understand the taxpayers kind of put you in this bad spot, but anyway, well, I'm gonna close the hearing on BOE number 132 and open up the hearing on BOE, our number, BOE 178. That's account number ending in 3485. Property at 1 North Broadway Avenue.
Downtown Sheridan.
Assessor at the informal had it at 39.4 million, and he reduced it to 38,612,000. It looks like taxpayers asking for $26,330,053. That comport with all your info, Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. All right, what about, start with, did anything,
Yes,
oh, we had some, all right,
we have some income approach that was provided here.
okay.
Year ending 2022 data.
All right, let's let Mr. Slaughter go first, and then I'll hear from the assessor. Just need to establish that something was done at the informal.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir, thank goodness.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. We got one we can kind of wrangle with here.
Understood. Well, we've used a fairly basic and industry accepted income valuation approach. We use the actual income from the property to perform our income valuation model. After going through the income and the expenses, we had a net operating income of $2,778,045. We utilized a capitalization rate of 9% and loaded it with the effective tax rate, which accounted for a 10.3 loaded cap rate, which provided an overall income valuation rounded at $27.1 million. We did take out the personal property assessment, which was $769,947, which provided an adjusted value, and the value that we're asking for, $26,330,053. We did provide some capitalization rate support for Oklahoma City in and around that supports our cap rate. We also provided the January 2023 STAR report, which shows that the property, occupancy-wise, is fairly close to the competitive set in our market. Their average daily rate, however, is significantly below their competitive set. They're at 84.2% of the overall market, as well as the RevPAR is at 88.2% of the overall market. So the property is struggling comparatively. We also provided the income analysis. The assessor's office did provide us with their own income analysis, which was great. That actually, I mean, if we're looking at the income analysis that was provided, our numbers are not very far apart. It looks like the assessor's income analysis provided for a real property value of $26,191,655. We were provided a response that said that they had sales, the assessor had sales that supported the current assessment on the property. I did review the sales that were provided and plugged them into this sales comparison review and identified that there's really only one sale that is north of $100 a square foot or north of $100,000 a key for the property. And we ran a median and across from a room standpoint on the improvements, and then of course with the land included. And the median sale price for the improvements was roughly $64,454.
64?
So when we add that
Wait a minute, say that again.
64,454.
Okay.
And then when we plug back in the value based on the unadjusted median, the value came in at roughly $27,166,000 based on the sales. And that's a median value. Now, if we took the average, that would be different because you've got one sale at 139, or really it's 141,000 a key. You've got one as low as 56,000 a key. You've got one at 63,000 and one at 78. The most recent sale, which we do consider comparable, was in December of 2022, which was the Skirvin Hilton in Oklahoma City. That property transacted. It's got 225 keys. It transacted for $56,431 per room, and we do feel like that is probably the best comparison. We currently sit at $97,505 per key, which we do find to be high. We did pull the information, the sales information, and I did talk with the owner about it. They did feel like the Skirvin was a good comp. The Cold Court Hotel, the owner didn't consider that a comparable, and they don't actually utilize that property in their star report reporting. And then one thing that we did come across, which was interesting, the Aloft Oklahoma City downtown Bricktown, on the report that was shared, it showed a sale price of $14,700,000. We actually, identified on the assessor's site that the sale price was actually listed at $10,565,000. We did use that $10,565,000 number in our sales comp review versus the $14 million, which provided us with that $78,843 per room on the Aloft. So, all that said, the fact that the income valuation from the assessor is almost exactly in line with our adjusted income valuation. The sales of the properties, if we only exclude one of the four sales, which the one we would exclude we wouldn't even consider a comp. The sales support that valuation as well. All of the information you should have in the packet that I submitted.
Okay. Exactly what is this? This is a hotel, right?
It's the
Yes, sir, it
Sheraton.
is. It's the Sheraton Oklahoma City Hotel.
The Sheraton, okay. That's what was gonna be my next question is, what's the flag on it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how many units are in there?
396, sir.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us at this point?
No, sir. That's the end of my presentation.
Okay.
I got two questions. You said the hotel you did not use as a comp. Is it because it's too small?
Let me just pull up the comp. Number one, the hotel is not a branded hotel.
Oh, okay.
The Cold Court is more of it's not a Hilton, it's not a Sheraton.
Right.
It was much smaller at 108 rooms. I'm not sure what the renovation costs were on it. I tried to do some research on it, but there wasn't a lot of information out there. But generally speaking, when you have the difference between 400 keys and 100 keys of a branded versus a non-branded hotel, to me, that's not a project that we would typically use. We try to stick more with the full brand. And to be fair, the property that makes most sense as far as a comp and in the interest of disclosure, a Hilton Garden Inn is a limited service hotel. I don't necessarily consider that comp. The same with the A-Loft, though the A-Loft typically will have some food and beverage. This is a full service hotel. And, the one full service hotel that made most sense, which was the Hilton, Skirvin Hilton, that kind of fit. It's the largest of the comps at 225 keys. It had a renovation in 2007, and that one transacted in December of 22 at the 56,000. The truth is, finding sale comps is fairly challenging in Oklahoma City, but I wanted to provide the information that was available.
Okay, and my last question, when you were doing the comparison of the A-Loft, you first said 17 million and then said actual was 10, and you used the 10 million, but you said versus the 14. So what were
Well, my apologies. The sale price on the sales comps that were sent to me by the county showed that the sale price was $14,700,000.
Oh, 14, okay.
And as I was reviewing the property, I found on the county website that the sale price shown on that project in Oklahoma, which is obviously a disclosure state, was actually $10,565,000. So I did utilize the assessor's sale price listed on the website,
Okay.
on the assessor's site from the conferred deed transaction.
Gotcha. Okay.
Did we not hear a case on the A-Loft?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought we did. It was one of the first ones.
Okay, anything else at this point, Mr. Slaughter?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
sir. That's it.
All right, we'll hear from the assessor.
Okay, first of all, going to these sales comps, that information on the Skirvin Hotel is incorrect off CoStar. That actually sold, the real estate, everything on that one sold for $31,750,000. We're going to be contacting CoStar about that and get them to correct that. And that makes it to be $135,684 per room, as opposed to the 56,000 change. So there's a big discrepancy there.
Can you figure out how that happened?
I could email CoStar and see. That was something not from our office.
Okay.
All right.
And the income that we have, I don't see in my packet here an income worksheet that our office created. Do you have that one from what our office sent?
I sent the one that was sent to me. It is in my package.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have it in this packet here, but we went on this one for the notes saying, we are lowering the value based on income and expense report sent by the agent. However, we're not going to lower the value anywhere near what is being asked because sales comps do support our value. Our new value will be $98,000 per room. And we had, you mentioned, if you go back to the buildings, I think we have two less, we have in our records, we'll go back to this one. $394 rooms. You said there was 396 rooms?
That's what I show on the that's what I show on the operating statement.
Okay. So would it be less than the 98,000 per room then?
I read that note and it said 394 plus 2 residential, or 1 residential, maybe 2 bedrooms, so.
Oh, okay.
That might be, if you look,
Oh, maybe
it was just on one of the narratives.
Oh,
1 residential unit and 394. So if you assume the residential might have 2 bed.
yeah, maybe the apartment, the manager lives there. Yes, we do have the, and we're gonna look right now at this A-Loft. I can read you the account number.
Okay.
R020024950.
4950.
Yep, 4950.
I have that as a miscellaneous accounts.
Oh, see if CoStar's got the wrong number.
Just go to the map and then
I do have this.
you just go to the map and then we'll find it.
Okay.
Walnut and Fourth.
What is it?
It's on Walnut and Fourth, the loft is.
Okay.
Mr. Slaughter, let you know what's happening here. The assessor is trying to pull up the A-loft
Yes, sir.
information.
Yeah, they reported. Yeah, it's interesting that the dock stamps were recorded at the 10,565,000, but it was reported in CoStar as being
As
14,700,000, which goes back to what
Right.
that other was
Was wrong.
was wrong also. So I don't have an answer for that one. I do know about the Skirvin though.
But the dock stamps were how much?
10 million, 10.5 million,
Okay.
which is what he said he used for his comp, was 10 million.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us?
No, that's it. Just the value is just lowered, well, according to the note, due to the income provided, and then it was not lowered as low because of the sales comps.
So I have a question for him. You use CoStar rather than looking at our assessor's website? Because if you'd have looked at the assessor's website, what he would have seen the correct sale price, right?
On the Skirvin?
Yes.
Yes.
If you had looked at the assessor's website rather than CoStar. But did you ever look at the assessor's website?
I only pulled up the assessor's website on the ALOP. That was the only one that keeps me on CoStar. But to that point, these sales are not sales that I provided. These were the sales that were provided to me
I got
in the
you.
response from the assessor's office.
Okay.
I didn't pull these comps.
Okay, thank you.
I am looking at the ALOF though, and it looks like the ALOF is currently assessed at $9,195,804. So I mean, it looks like the ALOF itself is current with the 134 keys by 134 is currently assessed at $68,625 per key.
Does that jive with the assessors?
Yeah, $68,625. That was appealed this year, that value. On
Yeah,
the
I'm
A-lot.
also looking at the Skirvin Hotel, which the sale is being utilized in the discussion here. That property is currently assessed at $15,308,093.
We'll go and look at that right now. We'll pull it up.
And that's the Skirvin?
That's the Skirvin. That's 68,000 a key.
All right, 16 million what?
I got 56.
It's at $15,308,093.
That's incorrect.
No,
No,
That's incorrect.
Okay.
way
then
off.
They're saying, the assessor's saying that's wrong.
We have that one at the 2023 market value for the Skirvin, $31,751,460.
Oh, yeah, that's what I
I'm-
had.
I'm just looking at the website that you guys have online.
Are you really there?
I am. I'm looking at all the deed information. I'm showing the last deed transaction was 21 for $16,399,998. I'm showing the current market value is $15,308,093. Gross assessed value of $1,683,819.
Are you looking at the taxable value or the fair market value?
I'm looking at both. Both the taxable value and the market value are exactly the same.
Okay.
I'm showing the last mailed notice was 3/9/22, which tends to, the value that's on it for 23 is the same as last year, so that tends to report, right? No notice is mailed, but the value remains the same.
$31,750,31,751. He's looking at the wrong website.
Am I looking at the wrong one?
Yep.
Yes, yeah, we're, one we have up here is 31,750,000 and some change.
Boy, don't I feel like a silly guy. I was looking at the cold board.
Oh, that would be a big difference.
That's a big
That would be a big
difference.
difference.
I'm sitting here, wait a second, what are we looking at?
Yeah, and you said you didn't use that because it wasn't a,
How much is this per key?
Right, I did not use that one because I didn't really consider it.
135,684.
where
That's from the
are
sale.
you? Are you here? Are you in
Me?
Oklahoma? Yeah.
The,
I'm in Dallas, man.
Oh, okay.
But
the,
I'm in Prosper, which is closer to Oklahoma.
the full sales price of the Skirvin was actually 36,750,000, and 2.5 million was taken off for FFE. 500,000 was reduced for inventory, and then there was 2 million taken out for intangibles
That's per the owner.
per the owner.
Hmm.
So the real estate only is that
Mhm.
31,751.
It's the gold court.
The Skirvin.
Sure.
Oh, the script.
Yes, sir.
He was mistakenly looking at the color card.
Yes, I was mistaken.
That's all I-
Anything else?
that's all I
Okay.
have.
Mr. Slaughter, you got the skirvin in your sights now, the figures? You want-
Yes, sir, I see it.
Anything else you wanna add?
I'm not sure that there's anything else to add at this point. We do feel like the property based on the income valuation that's mirrored by the assessor's income valuation supports the value in the $26.3 million range. We didn't account for any business value. We only extracted the personal property. We used fairly basic fundamentals for the property. I don't have access to any of the other operating statements for any of the other properties, and if we're using an income valuation, which is how most people will look at these projects, we do feel like that value should be $26.3 million. It does look like this in some of the information that I was able to pull up online that the Skirvin went through a pretty significant renovation back in 2007 after an extensive renovation with public and private funds. I don't have access to that information to understand exactly what was done. We just do know that the income on the Sheraton continues to struggle compared to the competitive set, and ask that the value be placed at $26.3 million.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Slaughter?
No, sir?
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the hearing on BOE number 178. That's the last one on our docket this morning. Appreciate your input, Mr. Slaughter, gave us a lot of things to think about. We'll have a letter that'll go out Thursday, tomorrow, when the board decides what they believe the market value of all these properties are, okay?
Well, I appreciate it, everyone, and I apologize for looking at the wrong property. I feel real silly.
Ah, well, that happens.
All right, you guys have a great week.
All right, you too, sir, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just focus over here.
Do we need to adjourn before we?
Yeah, we got any comments from the board on what we're doing? There's no, nobody in the peanut gallery, so,
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.